Oren Segal is with us now. He is the vice president at the Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism. Thank you for your time on this important day. How would you characterize the threat level a year after the October 7th attack?
Yeah, the threat level is very high. I mean, you can listen to what the FBI is talking about. Our own data demonstrates that. But I think it's very important to just take a moment to recognize this is the one-year anniversary since the worst massacre against Jews since the Holocaust, and that today we not only mourn 1,200 plus people who were killed, but the hostages that remain captive in Gaza. So the reality is that the Jewish community is feeling very vulnerable. 10,000 plus incidents since October 7th. And frankly, those are preliminary numbers. We know those numbers are going to go up. So this is not necessarily just a trend that we are tracking, but frankly, it's a crisis.
And take us behind the data, if you will. What do some of these incidents look like? Give us some examples of what people are seeing and experiencing across this country as a result of what happened on October 7th.
On October 8th, we started seeing not only, Jewish-owned restaurants or pro-Israel or perceived pro-Israel institutions and businesses being targeted as if the, legitimate reason to go after a specific target was simply because of the perceived support either for Israel or because they were Jewish. In many of these cases, we saw, inverted red triangles spray painted or graffitied on these institutions. And I should note that inverted red triangle harkens back to the images and the symbols, frankly, that Hamas used in its videos on the day of the October 7th massacre. So the support for Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and other terrorist organizations that is so brazen at these events is what perhaps is most troubling.
So much of this hate is spread on social media and has been over the last year or so. What is your group doing to work with tech companies to combat what we're seeing online?
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows the language, the symbols, the iconography, the code words that anti-Semites use better than the ADL. We provide these resources not only to the public, but we encourage the various social media platforms to learn about them. That way they can train their own algorithms and try to preempt the exploitation of their platforms that are being abused for anti-Semitism and support for terror. But at the end of the day, these companies need to make sure that they are putting people over their profits, and also make sure that during moments of conflict that they don't allow the level of disinformation that we have seen spread, not only about the conflict, but about Jews more broadly. We know what happens online animates real world activity, and these companies need to do a better job in making sure that they're protecting their users and the influence that their platforms have in the real world.
We've seen some explosive situations on college campuses in the last year. What more can you share about recruitment of some of these extremist groups on college campuses and elsewhere of young people?
I think college campuses have been among the most, concerning, spaces that we've seen this sort of surge in anti-Semitism and support for terror. I mean, how many times have we seen flags of terrorist organizations or calls to bomb Tel Aviv, or making it more difficult for those who are Jewish students or, those who are perceived to be Zionists or are, fully Zionist to even walk around campus. And so we've created scorecards, basically identifying what are universities doing in order to protect their Jewish students and literally scoring them from A, B, C, D, and F. We've also created a call line, and over 600 calls have been received by ADL from students who do not feel safe on campus or feel that they are not empowered to make sure that the administration is making them feel safe. I mean, that is a cry for help. But I want to mention one other thing. As terrible as the data that we're talking about is, and the ongoing conflict is, the Jewish community is also remembering October 7th with resilience and strength. This is not all about being, the targets. We have to be sober about what is happening, but we have to recognize that the Jewish identity, both in this country and around the world, is stronger than ever, and that frankly, the Jewish community is fighting back.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.